Well, let's return to the Centrelink story and Centrelink defending the debt recovery program in the face of a public backlash. Earlier this week, we spoke to Michael Griffin, who'd been told he had to pay back over $3,000. He's now been told he only has to pay back $54. Michael Griffin joins me now live from Brisbane. Michael, great to chat to you again. Between Tuesday, I think, when we talked, and today, your debt has reduced significantly. What happened?
So on Wednesday afternoon, I got a call from the Centrelink Appeals Department. And so they were able to start my appeal. I talked them through the documents, took it for a few minutes. Well, the documents, I mean my pay slips. I told them the amounts and they confirmed that they were the same amounts that they had in their records. He said on the phone that it appears everything seems to be hunky-dory and I have no little debt. And he would call me back and confirm. I did ask him, you know, had my case been expedited because I've been kicking up a stink in the media. He said that it hadn't, but I will say Nicole Rogerson's son has been dealt with. Some other people I know who'd been out talking about it anonymously have been dealt with. So it does appear that complaining to the media is a very good way to get your complaint dealt with. And then so they called back and they said, sorry about that, they called back and they said that, yeah, they've reviewed the debt and it's come down to $54.
OK, so let's just talk through the process then. Had you been dealing with a real person on the end of the line and you'd got a letter saying, look, there seems to be some discrepancy here, you'd walked into a Centrelink office and talked it through, you would have never gone through this process and never been issued with that high debt?
That's correct, yeah. So, you know, Mr. Yongan and Mr. Porter in the media have said that the methodology hasn't changed, and that's technically true, but it's I think deliberately misleading because the methodology is the same, but the human being is able to execute that methodology, and the computer system is just not coded, set up properly, and it doesn't know how to execute the methodology. So that's what's leading to these problems.
Michael, we spoke with Mr. Yongan on the afternoon. We also spoke with you, who made it very clear that that first letter is not a debt letter. It's just a notice of there's $26,000, for example, that you earned this year. Is that correct? I understand that you agree with that. However, your point here is that once you've said yes to that amount you've earned, that debt letter's automatically issued. There's no way to kind of speak to a human being in between those two letters.
Yeah, Mr. Yongan's splitting hairs. It's true that the first letter is a debt letter, but then that debt letter says log online, pull in your details, and go from there. And you go online, you get one choice, you say yes, and then instantly my phone beeps and I am now in debt with an account payable letter. So yes, he's technically correct, but it seems like it doesn't mean very much when the process is the way it is.
Since you've been coming out this week and explaining your difficulties, have you been contacted by other people with similar stories?
I've heard from a few people, and personally, but there's, you know, what I have seen is, particularly I think on, you know, Facebook comments and newspaper comments and ABC article comments, you just see there's hundreds and thousands of people saying, this happened to me, this happened to my brother, and a lot of people saying, oh no, I paid, why did I pay, I should go back. Actually, on Tuesday we were talking about why has it only been talked about now. Part of it I think might be is that for a lot of months people just didn't realise that it could be wrong.
Right.
And now that it's more in the media, they're actually having a final look at their own claims and saying, no, the government has it wrong. OK, so Michael, through all you've been through and the kind of, thank you for using yourself as a live example so we can actually talk through what's been going on, where would you like things to be now in terms of the government obviously needing to recoup money or at least catch people out who are gaming the system, but people like yourself who need to be able to talk to a real human being, where do you think it should all sit now? Well, look, I mean, the government just has to work on the standards that Australians believe to be fair, which is innocent until proven guilty. I know that they really want to recoup money very quickly, but if it's not possible, they have to pause the system, fix it and restart it. You know, they say they've recovered $300 million, but that's not actually recovered money. That's just debt letters they've sent out. That money hasn't actually come back to the government, and it may never. Taxpayers had to pay hundreds, maybe even $1,000, so that my Centrelink worker and 2 or 3 of his staff, as I understand, spent a couple of hours just on my one case to recover $54. So that's going to happen to thousands of people. And the poor taxpayers, we have to pay all of this wasted money so that we can deal with these false claims. So I think I'm not really interested in recrimination or whose fault it is. We'll deal with that later. Right now, we just have to pause the system and get it right, and then restart it.
Okay, Michael Griffin, do appreciate all your time you've given us this week. I'm really grateful, and have a great weekend.
You too, thank you.